So we've got some parts back. This is just a quick update to add to the video. The ring you can see there in black has been made, and Steve at Proline has really helped me out. That is so good, absolutely amazing that he's been able to do that. Also, behind there is the drive plate, and you can't see the flywheel because the drive plate is bolted to it. So Steve again is drilled all the holes out that bolt to the flywheel, is drilled the bolts out, the holes out where the dowel pins go. He said I do need longer bolts for it, but that's fine, that will do for me. So it's getting real now. There's a very real possibility that this engine could be going in before the end of the month, which will make me really happy. To be honest, I'm getting sick of seeing this engine, and I'll be just glad to have it in the cabinet and running. And I'm just hoping to hell that nothing's going to go wrong with it for quite some time. I don't think it will, but I'm keeping my fingers, toes and eyes crossed. So now I'm down to the last few parts that I need to order, which is the diesel filter, the oil filter. I've just took a picture of those to get the codes off them, and an air filter, which I never did have, but the air box is down there. There's the lid, just there. And I've got a couple of bolts I need to drill out. There's a stud sticking out on the exhaust port there on the head. I need to grab that. Just see if I can. I've not got much room because I've got tools all over. Yeah, you see there's a stump there sticking out I need to unwind. And then there's a couple of studs broke off in the exhaust manifold. So let's get back to it. I need oil filter, diesel filter, air filter, a gasket to go on the turbo, and the intake manifold gasket. Somewhere amongst all this rubbish, I really need to have a tidy up because I'm tripping over stuff now, but somewhere in this garage there is a exhaust manifold gasket, so I'll probably use that. It's new. I bought it for one of my older vans and I never used it. I scrapped the van, I think. So yeah, there you have it. So a little bit of work to do to them rings. I've got to separate them again, unfortunately, because that bottom ring there, mind the light. Let me just see if I can clip this light to something. Let's hang it off the dipstick. There you go, bit of information. Where do you find the dipstick in a Transit? Sat at the steering wheel. Just kidding, it's there. So yeah, them two rings have got to come apart. Obviously that bottom ring bolts onto the back of this engine, and then that top ring bolts onto the alternator in the generator cabinet, and then that black ring's the adapter. So I've got to separate them, put that on the alternator, that on the back of the engine, and then the reason that I've got to split them is, I'll show you this. The Chinese thought it was clever to have a drive plate, right, which is a bigger diameter than the hole in the cage. So you have to put the cage on first, followed by the drive wheel. You can't take the cage off once the drive wheel's on. You have to take the drive wheel off first, because that drive wheel won't fit through that hole, which is really annoying. Really annoying. But oh well. Yeah, so hopefully, I think it's going to be next week now, because I've still got a few bits to do inside the cabinet, but hopefully next week I should be lifting this engine in. And then probably maybe the week after that, this engine might be fired up, because yes, it would only take me about a day to do everything that I need to do to get this engine going, but It's absolutely freezing outside. I'm not willing to spend too much time out there before I have to come in to get warmed up. Also, I'm in no rush because I've just got, I think it's about, I want to say 44, 45 days left of this build before it has to be working. You know, it's, this has to be running, but I don't want to rush it. I don't want to break anything. I don't want to F anything up. You know, I want to get it all together nice, neat, tidy, and get it running. I still need a couple of pipes, I think, for the intake and stuff like that, but that's nothing. And I might have I'm going to say a massive surprise, because it is enormous. That's something that you've got to look forward to. But that won't be part of this engine build series of videos. That will be more back to work and events style videos. So yeah, if you want to see this engine running and actually doing a job at events, feel free to subscribe. I'm not going to beg like other people do. The last thing I like hearing, in fact it really irritates me, is when a YouTuber in every single video is just going like, comment and subscribe. That really gets under my skin. What I believe is, if you find the content interesting, you, excuse me, you make a, like a, I wouldn't say educated, but you make your choice. You know, it's your choice whether you subscribe or not to a channel. That's whether you like the content. You might not like the content, or you might like one particular video out of a series. You know, you might be doing something to one of these engines, want to know how to do it. You watch one video and you're not bothered about the rest because you don't care. You know, I'm the same. I'll watch a video out of a series and then it's like, I really want to do something, like I really want to be able to change that diesel pump or that pulley wheel or, you know, something. And if someone's got a video up of that, but then there's the rest of the engine build, I won't watch the rest of the engine build because I don't care. You know, and a lot of people are the same. They just don't got the time to waste. But, I mean, it's up to you. It's your conscious thought, you know, it's your thought process. It's what you're into, you know. So if you like the content, feel free. You know, you can subscribe. I do like it when people comment, even if it's... well, I'm going to say it. I've been watching a YouTube channel for some years now. There's a guy called Matt with a channel called The Workshop, I think it is. I don't know whether he's changed the channel, actually, because it's called The Dirty Workshop or something like that. Now, yeah, Matt is... I'm not calling him. I'm not having a go at him. Nothing like that. It's everything I'm going to say is positive. Is critical of videos, you know. He'll positively criticize people doing things stupid in videos, and you know, it sounds like he's been a motorbike engineer for years, and this guy knows what he's talking about. And I've seen his videos, and if he doesn't know what he's talking about, I see him Google it so that he does know what he's talking about. It's like, nobody's expected to remember everything about a particular paint variety or a particular oil variety, you know, but what Matt will do, he'll research, which is good. That's excellent, you know. And if I F up on something, for instance, this pulley wheel, I have mentioned it in a previous video. I was so excited to get this engine home, to get it stripped. I left the fan on. This, as I've, hands up, I've mentioned this before in one of my previous videos, after the fact, when I'd sat and thought about it. I left the fan on, took the fan belt off, because I wanted to get to the diesel pump to get the diesel pump off. And I was so excited stripping this engine and ripping it to bits. I forgot that this pulley wheel's free running on the oil pump. And to get the fan off, it helps. Probably not all the time. Not if this is seized solid, it won't, like this is. But it does help. if yours is just torqued up to spec, say, or spanner tight, hand tight, it helps if the fan belt's on, because the fan belt puts, like, I don't know whether you call it tension or whatever, but it puts a force on that. It like grips it. And with the fan belt being on, that is less likely to slip round when you're trying to undo that nut. So obviously, I took the fan belt off first, still got the fan on, struggled like a bastard to get that nut off, and I eventually hooliganised it and just took a lump hammer to it and smashed the fan off, and I'm left with the nut, the bearing, well, part of the bearing. But yeah, schoolboy error. I've done it 1,000 times. Not fucked it up, but I've taken these fans off before. I've taken the, you know, various crap off before, but taking the fan belt off first was the mistake I made. And I'll put my hands up and say that I made that mistake and I shouldn't have done it. If I'd have been doing this live and Matt would have been watching me, he'd have come onto the comments and gone, whoa, don't do that, because you're going to find that difficult. Now, that is very helpful, because I struggled like a knob to get that off, and it's still not off. I'm going to have to probably nut split it or whatever. But yeah, if it hadn't, if Matt had come on and commented on a live video, if I was able to go live, I wouldn't have made that mistake, because Matt would have stopped me. And I would have appreciated that, you know. Because now I'm still going to struggle getting this nut off. Like, you know, it's just extra hassle. But yeah, I like constructive criticism, or at least I like people telling me something that I've done wrong, because nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I do things wrong. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I just don't care. Sometimes I'm not bothered. But that's the worst point. If you're not bothered, you're too tired and you don't care, and you do something like this, further down the line, a couple of weeks later, when you're not tired and you do care, this is going to stuff you up. And I appreciate people pulling me up on stuff like that, if I could go live, that is, and if people could comment while I'm live. And yeah, so constructive criticism, spot on. I'll accept that. I don't mind. But yeah, this build is getting there. So there's a very real possibility that this engine could go in the cabinet, like I say, next week, or even this week, if I get round to it. And it could be running before the end of the month. But like I say, I'm not going to rush. I'm going to do things day by day. I'm going to have an hour or so outside, get freezing cold, get a bit done, and then come in and have a coffee. And that's how I roll. I'm not a mechanic. I'll put my hands up to that. I've just done this for fucking years. I've worked on these transit engines more times than I really want to. I did say last year that I was never going to work on another engine again. And here we are. I was speaking to someone else a couple of days ago, and they say once you get into it, you can't get out of it. It's impossible. Once you've used a spanner and snapped things and it's in your blood, you're stuffed. Basically, you're stuck doing it. So in doing this, I am actually helping somebody else build another generator. So, I mean, I'm putting all my experience that I've got behind me in from doing this and other jobs and, you know, other relevant stuff that kind of like goes with it. And, you know, I'm helping them do the same thing I'm doing. Basically, they've got a little industrial unit that they want a backup generator for in case the power goes off. And they thought that this build that I was doing was incredible. So I am offering my help to them to build their own little generator. So what they've got to do is they've got to find out how many amps and watts and whatnot that they're drawing, and then we can go from there. I've advised, again, if you think this is wrong, tell me in the comments, because it will help me down the line. I've told them, find out how many amps you're drawing, get an alternator to suit that amount of amps and watts that they need, the consumption, and then get an engine to go with the alternator. And probably, for instance, this is, what is it? Well, it had 100 PS written on the sticker on the timing case that I smashed off. So, what is it? Say 7,500 horsepower, something like that. Is it 100 horsepower to 100 PS? And I don't know, technical crap. But it had got 100 PS written on it. I worked that out to be, I think it was about, I want to say, Googling around, I want to say it was about 29.5 kilowatts at 1,500 revs. And the alternator is going to be 30 kilowatts at 1,500 revs. But the stuff that I'm using this for, I'm never going to get up close to 30 watts. 30 kilowatts. I'm not going to get close to 30 kilowatts because I'm more than likely just running a couple of blower fans for bouncy castles on this set. I'm going to be running some floodlights, a sound system, and a couple of kids' rides of my mates with a couple of, bits of lights and whatnot all over it. And probably, I don't know, run a power cable to a caravan as well. So I don't think I'm going to get up close to 30 kilowatts. So I think this is going to be suitable. I don't think it's going to bog the engine down at all. Just to give you an idea, the Chinese engine that I took out was actually less kilowatts at the same horse. Can't get my words out today. Less kilowatts at the same engine revs as this engine. So that were a 3.2 turbo diesel with less horsepower than this, which is a 2.5 turbo diesel. Figure that out. Probably more modern technology, by maybe a decade. So, yeah, that's an update. See you later.